Alright, hello everyone, this is Titan here. Today we're doing Epic War 5 tier list. As you can see, we have organized everything. Uh, Unfortunately, I don't have, the great resources to, make these guys all the same size and, stuff like that. But I do think it should get the job done, though. Just making that like that. Okay. It should get the job done now. I think it is as close as I can really get to, whatever, to make it look so I neat, I guess. Um, it's just, yeah, I doubt there's a tier list maker for this game, especially that Flash game, especially on top of the Flash game being 10 years old, if not older. I think it came out way before that, even. We are also going to be using the Epic War 5 game itself to kind of reference everyone, like with their stats and all that stuff. As I went through earlier today, and I maxed out everyone, so we can see all their stats. I removed all of their items. Items are not going to be affected by this tier list because honestly, there's not much of a point to, because of the fact that you can literally just throw this item in particular on every single person, and it would be the best item yet, like the best item possible for them, basically. Um, so that's kind of why I'm not really doing items, because like it wouldn't change anything, basically. Um, just because of the fact that you can place it's the same item on everyone, and it would still really be really good. I mean, obviously, when you're putting it on this guy, he has way higher stats than like what you would have for like a goblin. But I mean, even so, though, like when you compare them to each other, like in each of these tiers, like page one, page two, and three, it doesn't make that much of a difference when everyone has the same item, because this is by far the best item in the game. And if you want to put items into it, everyone would have to be accountable for this item, which wouldn't make much sense. So yeah, items are not being included because it doesn't really change much either way. So yeah. Um but anywho, uh so in the tier list, as you can see, they're kind of organized, like there's a little gap in between. This is representing the three different pages. As you can see on the far left, it's all page one. It's even in order, so like you can see Hobbit, Dwarf, uh, Elf Hunter, the Wizard. It's all like organized in order as the game portrays it. Um, you can see all the tier tech. Page two is the same way. Uh, and then page three is also the same way. So we get to see basically how everyone is gonna fit into the tier list. I'm really excited for this tier list. Normally, I'm not working with this many different characters and all that stuff, so I'm really excited to actually get into this video. So first up, let me just do this real quick. It's getting in the way. It's annoying as crap. It's probably loud as crap in the video. There we go. All right. So the first one is obviously the Hobbit. The Hobbit is basically, you can just say cannon fodder. Um, I believe they are tankier than that of yeah, they're a little bit tankier by about 5 health than the goblins. They have 10 less or not HP, but the 10 less power than the goblins. They do have a different form of attack, whereas they have strike. The goblins have pierce. Um, Not really, the different type of attacks aren't going to really determine much with the tier list, is because it's kind of impossible to account for all of them. And I mean, there's four of them, and it's kind of hard to like judge that in particular, especially for a single unit. If you're I mean, it'd be easier to do it with a full army, because you kind of want to be well rounded. Like you want to have some guys that do pierce, some guys that do strike damage. It just depends on your outfit of the army, sort of deal. So we're not going to be judging it really by that. Just health, power, pop, and resistance, um, and so forth. So, and movement speed. I got to account for that. Movement speed is also a thing in the game. And because of movement speed, I do think the hobbits aren't as good as the goblins. They do less damage. They have just slightly more health. I mean, the goblins do have just slightly more damage than the hobbits, but it is a bigger difference than the 5 HP. In the fact that when you're talking about cannon fodder, you kind of want it to be fast. I feel like the goblins are definitely better. Um, but for the hobbits case though, um, I don't think they're bad in any sense, especially since they do get a nice healing spell, which is okay. And there's still good cannon fodder, and you can even use them for more cannon fodder. Like you can have them with the goblins, and that can be useful for some strategies and stuff, as there really is no right or wrong answer when it comes to strategies in this game. You can basically use any form of strategy and it'll probably work. It's just there is preferences, I would say. Um, and that's what this tier list is all about, really. So for the Hobbits, I would have to say I don't think they go much higher than B tier. I would probably put them there. I don't think because I don't think any cannon fodder goes above A. And since I kind of stated, goblins are, I'm not gonna put them in A yet, just because I still need to talk about them compared to the dwarves. Um, but as of it stands right now, the hobbits go in B because I just don't think they're better than the hobbits or even the dwarves, really. Next we have, I believe, who is this? This is the Dwarf Defender. I know it was a dwarf, I just couldn't remember what its official name was. So the Dwarf Defender is a pretty good frontline unit. It has 10 pop, 400 health, 85 damage. Pretty beefy. Um, Pretty good to have a frontline with. Not as I don't think it's as strong as these guys are a lot stronger. I know these guys are a lot stronger. I don't be on par with these guys. They're pretty much on par with the Oxen. Um, I think the Dwarven Defenders, as far as front line goes, they definitely can make their own place. I feel like they're good with like being an off tank. Like they're good with a mixture. Like somewhat like if you had these guys behind like these guys for instance, or this both fight together, they would be a lot better because of the fact that they have 10 numbers, and these guys have 8. So these guys they're stronger, but they don't have as many numbers, and numbers is a big part of the tier list as well. They are kind of slow, but again, there is 10 of them, so you're always going to be able to rely on them to hold off the enemy for some sort of amount of time. Um, I think the Dwarf Defender is a good off tank character to use. It's just a good combination with like someone like this, or even this guy, for instance. I think the Dwarf Defender, I don't think he goes super high, as I do think he does rely on other people that kind of frontline with him. Um, but overall, I do think he's pretty okay. I think he goes in B tier, right next to the Hobbits. I think they are just a good off tank, really. That's all I got to really say about them. Next up, we have the Elf Hunter. Yeah, Elf Hunter. Uh, Pretty freaking good. I'm not even gonna lie. there's not many combinations that would make them bad in your army. Um, you can have a front line, they can help you from the behind. There's 12 of them. They do a lot of DPS. They have, the rain of arrows, which does do a massive amount of shredding of health. It can wear out bosses pretty quick too. It is really strong. Um, Maybe not to the later bosses, but in the early levels, like the easy to mid difficulty levels, this ability will shred bosses pretty good, especially if, let's say for instance, um if you're behind, basically, if they have more rangers than you, you're having a major problem with mages, you're having a major problem with, you know, the enemy centaurs, because they have a bunch of other people with them for range. You could throw this on them. It does a lot of damage. It will pretty much shred anyone. It's not a frontline unit. Um, and its area of effect is massive. It could take out a whole horde like it's nothing. Um, I think because of this alone, it would put them above B. The Elf Hunter having 12 people as well, they have decent damage. They're not really. I mean, they're not going to be tanking anything. That's not their job. They're just meant for full on damage. So you really just look at the power and pop. But since they do have 12, it's the highest pop unit as far as range goes. No other unit for range, like even the Centaur, you can see has 8 pop, but only 80 power. Which 80 power is higher than this, but when you're comparing it with 4 extra people for the Elf Hunters, well, it kind of I do think it might go over. I'm not exactly sure on that. But again, pop is always going to be better because of the fact that you know, there's also attack speed to look into consideration here. So even though he does do more damage, and he might do more damage, which is 8 of them, there is also attack speed to look at. So attack speed will make the difference when you have 4 extra people. And I think on base they are faster than the Centaurs, just by a little bit, but still faster. Um, I think they might be even faster at movement speed. Either that or they're the same in movement speed. Regardless, though, they are probably better than the Centaurs as well because the Centaur's special ability is just to build tower, whereas theirs is like the whole arrow strike. So shooting of arrows from like raining arrows upon the enemy. So because of that, I think the Elf Hunters are some of the best rangers in the entire game. I would have to put them in S. I think there's not many there's not many areas they fall flat in. Like you can take them to any mission and they're gonna do something for you. They're gonna do a lot of DPS. They're probably gonna do the most damage in your entire army, considering how many there are, and considering they're rangers. They're gonna be more safe if you have a front line with them. Yeah, they're really good units overall. Next, we have the Elderly Wizard. I Elderly Wizard is kind of weird for me. Um, the healing spells aren't really that good until like level 4 and 5, I say. Um, so I mean they're decent in the early game, and he is an early game unit. Uh, the big thing is the pop size is only 3, and their damage is pretty high, but and it does have an AOE. Their base damage is like a area of effect. It'll just keep swirling around the enemy. It's slicing through them and stuff. So it is pretty good. I I think the pop size really hurts them though. I really do. I think the pop size, it's just you're not gonna be out damaging the elf hunters. You're not gonna be out damaging the centaurs. There's just no way. Your healing spell is not that great. The building altar is not that great. The building altars are good early game, but later in the level you just can't, because the thing is you have to have them in the front lines. But the problem is a lot of people destroy them in one hit. Um, so it could be good to like. I mean, of course you could place it behind your frontline units, but if you get pushed back, that's it. These build altars are gone, and honestly, they don't really do that much anyway. Um, they don't really do that much. I don't know. I feel like the build altars aren't that useful after a while, especially for healing like the bigger units that you need to have in the front lines. They're not doing that much. Um, I don't know. I feel like overall the Elderly Wizard isn't bad, but it's not great. I really favor Pop, and there is some units that do great without like the other witch, like the witch, for instance, and the yeah these people. I can't pronounce that name. I'm just gonna say Succumbus. Is that it? Succumbus, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But the like the elderly wizard. I don't know. I His stats aren't really that impressive. He does do magic damage, which few people do, so he is useful for some situations. I just feel like out of all the magic users, I do find him the most disappointing. Because at least the witch has the thunder spell, and she's still 3 pop, but she does a little bit extra damage, not much, but she does do more damage regardless. And she has this ability, and I think she has a bigger area of effect, if I'm not mistaken. Um, it's either that or she has faster attacks, but I can't remember. But regardless, she does do more damage, and with there only being 3 of them, you have to have more damage. You really do. Um, you gotta be hitting them hard, and the Elderly Wizard definitely does not hit near as hard as the Witch or the Succumbus. I'm pronouncing that right. I doubt I am, but whatever. Honestly, he's not bad, but I find him more situational, so I'm gonna put him in C tier. I hardly ever use him. I just don't think he's that good. Personally, I don't think he's that good. Next up, we have the Amazons. The Amazons are very powerful warriors. Do, as you can see, a lot of damage. They're decent at tanking. They got decent health. They got good damage. There's 7 of them. They got 7 pops. It's not great. It's not bad either. It's decent. Um, but honestly, I do think that they are some of the best frontline units you could get, just because of the fact that you get a whole group in there. That's a lot of damage. Like if you could keep them alive, they're doing a lot. Like they are hitting hard altogether. Especially if you have the rage buff on. Yeah, they are. You're talking around like 1,800 damage a hit with all 7 of them. They do a lot of damage. They got decent health, like I said. Um, and there's not like they're all normal for resistance, so and they're pretty fast. Like they're decently fast. I think they're a. I don't think they're insane or nothing, but I do think they are a very well balanced warrior that can really give you that extra oomph of damage, and they are decent at tanking. So like if you need an extra set of tanks or someone that does a little bit more damage, the Amazons are a good balance of both. And because of it, they're just a very well balanced unit, and they do favor damage a little bit more than anything else. But I still think they're pretty good. I think they go in A tier. I think I'm really appreciative of this unit. The Amazons are really strong warriors, without a question. They don't really have that big of a weakness. You can really put them in any army, and it's pretty good. Like if you're trying to go for a more offensive army, they're still pretty good for that. If you're trying to go for more of a defensive army, they're pretty good for that because they do have quite a bit of health. I mean, they have more health than the Dwarf Defender. They don't have a weakness like the Dwarf Defender because the Dwarf Defender has a weakness to magic. They don't, and they have more health than them. Granted, they have less pop, but um, still well established, well balanced unit, and you can see the damage is way higher. Uh, Literally doubling the dwarf defender here, and does like almost 60 more than the elderly wizard. They're a really good unit, honestly. They are amazing, amazing frontline warriors for sure. Next up, we have the all god almighty paladin. Uh, if that wasn't obvious enough, when I said God Almighty, they go in S. I don't think they go in double S, not to that level, not to that extent, but I think they go in S. Reason being, they are some of the tankiest units in the game. They are the tankiest in the sense that they're like if they're not these people, if they're not the super big guys, he's the tankiest. He's got 1,050 health. He's got good, decent damage. He's up there in damage. He's fast as hell. He's got a defense buff, which is nice. The temporarily defense buffs are nuts. You can defend. You can save your army for a much longer time with a defense buff. And whereas the Amazon does suffer kinda a little bit from the movement speed, they don't. And they have double the health of an Amazon. Paladins are only 5 pop, but altogether, they have 5,000 health. They have 5,000 health. I mean, that's nuts. That's a lot of health you're talking there. That's basically a miniature, like, yeah, like that's close to the Golem in health. Uh, and it exceeds the Limia giant, or whatever we call them. Yeah, like for the smaller unit category, paladins are amazing. Paladins are by far well, I shouldn't say by far, but they are pretty gosh darn tanky. And with their mix of speed and damage, yeah, they definitely rightfully deserve S tier from me for sure. Next up, we have the Centaur. I think they're honestly just a worse version of the Elf Hunters. They're still good, but they're not as good as a Elf Hunter. They are just more heavy hitting. They are pretty good duo. Having them together, they are great. But they both do pierce damage, so it's not always the best strategy to go with them, as some units in the game are completely immune to pierce. And one of them is this thing. Completely immune, although you only fight it once, so technically it's not really that big of an issue. But just an example, though. But there is a lot of units in the game that, you do need to have a little bit more diversity. And, if you also have the goblins, because if you're using goblins, that means three of your units are pierce. It's good to have a well established, having good damage type for everything. Like I usually go at least two. I try to keep like 2 strike, 2 slash, 1 pierce, and 1 magic. It's what I typically try to go for. It's just good to have a well balanced build. Like I said before, it really doesn't matter too much. You don't gotta look too much into it. It's just what I like to go for. It's a well established build order, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You can still pretty much use whatever units you want to still kind of make your way through. But the Centaurs, like I said, are just a much worse version. I shouldn't say much worse, but they are a worse version of the Elf Hunter. Um, they're not. They don't have a good power. Their power is just a building, and buildings are not that good, especially this one. The towers, the tower arrows are they're not that good, not impressive. Because of all these things, I don't think they go. Hmm, I. Hmm, let me just see something. Yeah, I think because of the Amazon's ability that they have, the healing, the spell healing too, they have a better ability. They're better, well rounded. I don't think they deserve A tier, honestly. I think they go B tier for me. I just find them as much like they're just a little bit worse than Elf Hunters, and they're not as good as the Amazon. I might change them. I might put them up here at the A. Uh, I don't know. I don't. I don't think they're that good because of the pop, because of the power. They don't really offer anything to the team with their powers. I think they're just B tier. I because I try to go from units that are more revolved around the team and or do a lot of damage like these like the Elf Hunter. They don't do either. They do damage, but not as much as the Elf Hunter, and they don't have the power of like either the Amazon or the Elf Hunter. So I don't know. I'm just gonna place them at B. I can see you saying A. I can definitely see that. It's A or B. It's I would say if there was a plus tier, I would say B plus. Um, but I don't. It's in between these two. I'm just gonna leave him there though. I think it's a better, more suited spot just because of his power. If his power was something different, it would be A. But because it's not, it's just yeah. I'm just gonna leave him there. So the witch. The witch is better version. I already kind of said this earlier. It's better version of the elderly wizard. Not by much, but I do think she does go into B tier. I think she's decent at what she does. But it's just in comparison to the other magic user, she just kind of falls flat in comparison to her. We'll get to her in a minute. Okay, I was wrong about Vampire Warriors. I was wrong. I just did not know the reason why I got them. I found out this ability. So this ability is actually very rare. I looked around everywhere. Not many people has that ability. I think the only other person that has it is it the Phoenix? No, I don't think anyone else has it except for Queen Etheria, which is the other leader. Um, but I didn't realize how good it is. So yeah, like as you can see, like no one else has it. Yeah. So what it does, it basically makes your regeneration way higher. Uh, Now it scales off of your health, so with the Vampire Warriors, it's not that great. However, you put this on any of these guys, it's pretty nuts. I put on Inferno, and he was healing for like 800. I put it on the Lord of Hell, he was healing for like over 1,000. It scales off of your health. Um, so the more HP pool you have, the more health regeneration you get. So it's not that great for most of these guys. It's better to have the spell like the spell levels for that for the lower level tiers. But the regeneration thing is amazing for the bigger units. And they're fast. They're very fast. They get to the battlefield pretty quick. Especially if you go for the. I do love having the chariot on them. I won't lie. The flaming chariot makes them go zooming, but this is without items. So, but even still, they're a very fast unit. They do decent damage, although they'll die pretty much instantly as soon as they get into the fight. It's just the best thing about them by far is just their healing ability. It's just so rare. No one else has it. So because of that rarity that they have, because of that ability alone, because of the fact that they are fast, they got 8 pop, they're just they're kind of decent. They're decently well rounded for their stats, but with that ability, if it wasn't for that ability, they'd be either B tier or C tier. But because of that ability, it makes them S tier. Straight up. That one ability makes them S tier. Because I thought it was impossible to have someone tank against the Colossus, but I was wrong. With that healing ability, it's so good to the point that you can actually out heal the Colossus' damage, which is absolutely insane. Um, yeah, that ability is nuts for having. It's it's not that great for him alone, but because he's the only person that actually has that power, he does go at S plus or S tier, not S plus, just S tier. He's just really good with a team. But on his own, he's only like B or C, I'd say. But with a team, he is amazing. And that's really the only reason he goes up there, though. It's just because his regeneration is just nuts. So yeah, I was gonna leave him there for team play. He does great for that. Next, we have Anubis spawn. Uh, very strong to strike, normal resistance to everything else, and they are beefy. They got 700 health, 8 pop, not bad unit at all. I would say they go in comparison to the other frontline units we have currently. I don't think they go higher than the Amazons. I think they're kind of with them, as they do have more health, but they don't have more damage than an Amazon. And they do have one more pop, but honestly, altogether though, they kind of stay with them. They're about the same speed. I think Anubis is slower, but overall they're pretty pretty good, pretty well rounded, pretty good frontline units. Um, honestly, I'm kind of honestly though the one thing that brings it down is this ability. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a very good ability. It's just the rage. It's just the problem with it that like so many people have it. Like I can't. Like there's so many people that have it. Like the goblins have it. These guys have it. My leader has it. Uh, freaking who else? I know. Yeah, these guys have it. The Taurus. The some of the what do I call it? Some of the people here you would have, I believe. Not this guy. Actually, was it? No. Yeah, this guy has it, and yeah, I know. So I think someone else has it. I'm not really sure, but yeah, like the point is though, like it's such a common ability. Uh, one of the most common abilities in the game, and that's ultimately why his ability does not really make him higher. It's a great ability. Don't get me wrong. It's especially good for dealing with bosses and stuff, but it's just yeah, it's just so common. Everyone has it. It's not really that special. Especially since goblins usually, at least for me, I'm usually having goblins on my team always, unless I just use like a bunch of big guys. But the goblins always have it. So, and my leader has it too. So I think the other guy has it as well. Vodar the Red. I think he might have it. No, actually, I think he has defense buff, so never mind. But still, like the rage is there's so many other units you can use the rage with, and if it's not the goblins, it's the Taurus you're using. It's one of them because the range, the units that do have rage are really good. I think these guys have. I don't know, they have poison. I forget who else had it, but yeah. Anyway, that might have been all of them. Just the four, but still, like it's the four that have it are really good units. So anyway, next up we have the goblins. Now I've already addressed their thing earlier. They are amazing. They're way better than the well, I shouldn't say way better, but they are better than the hobbits. Uh, I because of the speed, because of how good they actually are for cannon fodder. Um, I have to say they go an S. I just think for cannon fodder, they just do such a great job. Um, they're fast. They have the highest pop in the game. Hobbits do as well, but it's just the hobbits are nowhere near as fast. Um, and they can fight a lot on their own. Um, at least with they could still fight rangers. They could do decent against mages if they get up there. Eh, they're pretty good. I like them. Goblins are just really good at what they do. Is overwhelming the enemy with just pure numbers and speed. I love them for that. Next, we have the Succumbus. I doubt I'm pronouncing that right, but basically the most powerful mage out of all these units. And because of it, I think she does. I'm not. Mm, yeah, I'll put her next here. Actually, I do think she is really good. Um, she's definitely the best mage. She has some of the best abilities. Fire spell level 2, pretty good. The healing altar's not bad, but the thing is, she just does so much damage. She has good attacks. She's definitely the best mage for sure. For me, I think she's the best mage. She does. I could definitely notice her attacks, even with only three of them. Hers is the most unnoticeable out of all the mages. So next we have the the Bubba and Hubba. um, but anyway, the troll, 6 pop, 620 health, 130 power, so not bad for damage. That are not hitting it as hard as an Amazon, but they do have that extra amount of health. They have only 6 pop, but they also are weak to magic. They have an ability where they can put a wall. Walls aren't really that good. Um, they are decently fast. I don't think their speed's really that much faster than anyone else though. So their speed doesn't really make any difference for them in the tier list. I think I honestly don't think they're as good as the Amazons or the Anubis, just because I do love them, but I just don't think they're as good because of the fact that they just don't have the pop. They only have 6, and honestly, I feel like the Amazons could probably just annihilate them, just because of the fact that they do so much more damage. When you think about it, 130 versus 160, I mean, it's a lot. It's a big difference when you only have, especially since you have less, and you only get 120 more health. I feel like the Amazons will just butcher them, honestly. Uh, yeah, just as we said, I feel like they're just nowhere near as good as the Amazons. Uh, Next we have King Kong, Gorilla. I love him. I love him too. But he's pretty. He's the beefiest range unit, I think, apart from maybe you. Oh yeah, tanks. Yeah, the tanks are the beefiest. So he's the second strongest in terms of their ability. he has 120 damage. He's got 5 pop. He's weak to pierce, uh, which a lot of things do pierce, which is kind of an issue. At least a lot of rangers do pierce. A lot of cannon fodder does pierce. So positioning is definitely a thing you need to watch for these guys. I do think that they are pretty freaking good though. Uh, they hit hard as hell. They only have 5 of them. They also do have the slowest attack speed. Um, Out of the centaurs and elf hunters, I think because the main thing about them is that they're supposed to do a lot of damage, and they do that. I don't think they're as I don't think they're as low as the centaurs. I don't think they're as good as the elf hunters. I think they're A. I think they are better than the centaurs because they do just so much damage. Uh, but I don't think they go much. It's not that much higher. I still think these guys are pretty on par, and I could still see an argument saying they are A. But overall, I feel like they are a little bit better than the centaurs. Next up, we have the lovely Hell Raider. Hell Raider's ability builds a wall, not that great, but he's got the poison attack, which is a unique ability. Not that many people have it. I think he's one of the only ones that do have it, if not the only one. He has the second highest health in terms of the uh, page 1 and 2 of units. He's got pretty good power. He's basically a more damaging version of the paladin, and he's got his own unique ability. He does magic damage, and the wall again is not that great, but overall though he's got the health, he's got the damage, he's got the decent stats against resistances, and the fact that he is a magic frontline user, it's a unique um frontline unit, as most frontline units don't do magic. I think he's healing 1. So honestly, because of his uniqueness and because of how good his stats actually are, I think I have to put him in S. Yeah, I think I have to put him in S. He's pretty freaking good. He's basically a magic paladin, really. He's got poison, so he's really good. So next we have the dwarf engineer. They're not that fast, and I think they do more damage than everyone else. They also, I think they are, yeah. So they have the most damage. They have the most health. They don't have any unique powers. Um, I just don't think they're as fast, and speed is a big thing with cannon fodder. But because of the better stats, ideally I do think they go with A. But I don't think they go higher than goblins. Um, just because of the movement speed. The movement speed is just a key factor for a lot of frontline units for me. Um, you need to be fast for cannon fodder. You need to be fast for frontline. They're not that fast. Um, Goblins are excessively fast. And you might be saying, well, the health is a difference. It's like, that is true. Like, they do have more health and damage, but the thing is, it's like, they'll just die instantly, though. And the thing is, too, they also fight from range, which is not that good for a unit that is, like, yeah, that's the thing, too. I just not realize that. They do fight from range, yeah. So, honestly, and yeah, honestly, I think they do fight from range. I The slow speed, fight from range. I think they go with C tier for me. I hmm. The movement speed's so slow. Their attacks are better than the goblins and hobbits, but I don't know. I'm just gonna leave them there. I might change my mind. I gotta think about that a little bit more. Next up, we have the bomber. As much as I would love to place him in a higher tier, I can't. It's F for me. The bomber does a lot of damage. It has a lot of AoE. The problem with the bomber, though, it has a weird glitch. It happens every time. It says that their pop is 10, but a lot of times when they all blow up at once, it goes down to like 3, and they don't ever spawn back. On top of that, there's a lot of times where they can't even get to the target because rangers are hitting them. Bombers are just not that good. And honestly, for a unit that only is supposed to do damage, they don't really do as much as you would think, honestly. I mean, really, the gorillas do the same amount of damage per boulder. Obviously, it's not an AoE, but still does the same amount of damage as like the gorilla. I mean, I'd rather want more consistent damage than just someone that just goes in and blows up for the same amount of damage as a rock throw from this guy. Like I said before, though, I mean, yeah, it is an AOE, but I don't know. Like I just more prefer consistent damage, especially since like in the later levels, like the main thing you're fighting is like giant golems, giant trolls, giant Taurus guys, giant bosses. I mean, like a lot of the later levels, you're just fighting giants. So an AOE that does a little bit of damage, yeah. For me, they go in F tier. Personally, I think they go in F. Even if they did work properly, they go in F for me. I'm sorry, little buddy. You go in F. Next, we have the Taurus Oxen. Some of the best, some of the best frontline units in the game. Um, they have some of the best attacks as they jump into the crowd of enemies, stunning a lot of other frontline units while they do that. They do a decent amount of damage. They got decent health. They got 12 pop, which is pretty impressive for how big they are, how much they actually do in a fight. Pretty good. They also have rage, which, like we said, established earlier, just as so many units that do have it. Although, if you are using someone that's not Skull Knight, and you're using someone that actually doesn't have it, it is a great benefactor to have. If you don't have it on any other unit, they are a great ally to have then, even more so for someone that's playing Queen Theria or Valgar the Red. Instead of someone that already has it like Skull Knight. It definitely helps you a lot more. Um, so the Taurus Oxen, honestly, I don't think they're S. I definitely think they are A though. I don't think they exceed over the Paladin or the Vampire's ability or um the Hell Raider's, insane amount of HP and poison and unique abilities. Especially since he's also magic. But I do see him being an A. I think he's a good A tier unit. Pretty good, pretty solid unit overall. The thing that also kind of drags him from, because goblins, like I established earlier, does fast. If these guys could go as fast as a goblin, or even spawn as fast, then yeah, or even close to the speed of a goblin's spawn time, um, yeah, they would be up there, but because of those factors that it's just goblins are just goblins just make it so hard for you to push because of the fact that they just keep coming after you. They're just so fast. They have so many pop. They're just so hard to kind of fully stop. They just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. The tower is still really good. It's just yeah, they are slower. Their spawn time is slower, but they are still great frontline unit regardless. Still solid pick. Next we have the tank. Um, I, this one's kind of hard for me to rate. I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, are they that good? I see. The thing is, they they're not bad, but it's just the thing is, why have them when these guys exist? And I guess you could say, well, why not have both? But honestly, I'd rather not. I I just don't see the point of having a tank when the gorilla exists. And I don't want two. I don't want two of the same damage type together. They just seem like a worse version of the gorilla. They're slower than the gorilla. They have less numbers. The only thing they have better than is, oh, they have. Well, actually, don't have anything better. They just have more health, but it's a range unit. Who cares? Having more health on a range unit means nothing. Um, they have 3 pop versus 5. For more consistency of damage, these guys have it. For better powers, these guys have it. They don't even have a power. They only have an active. Um, and this tower, I said earlier that towers are pretty bad, and yeah, they are. But the fire tower is pretty good. They still die very quick, but they do. The fire tower does do quite a bit of damage. They have a good AOE. They could do decent damage. Pretty good. I think the gorilla does just. I think they just do a lot better than the tank. Like this, I just don't see the point of having a tank in my army when it's like, why go for that when I can have a gorilla? Like really? I mean, the damage is higher for the tank, but it's not like the with the 5 pop. It's not. You combine all the 5 of these tanks, that's 480 damage altogether that they're pumping out versus this, which is 3 of them would be 360, then 420, and then the last one make it 540. So with all 5 pop, be 540 versus what I say. I forget what I said, but it is higher. It is higher, and honestly, that's all that matters, especially since they're both strike. And I'm pretty sure, like, it's just they're also slower. They're slower. I mean, they have more health, but they're slower. And the thing is, too, they're weak to magic. These guys are weak to pierce, but magic hits harder. Despite them being a fewer, mages and stuff, they do hit harder. So honestly, that health doesn't matter because their countermeasure would be like the elderly wizard, the witch, and the AI uses them a lot. They always seem to have a magic user on their team. So the tank for me not that good. Honestly, I just think it's a worse version of the gorilla. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a worse version of the gorilla. I think it's B tier. It's just the gorilla does everything better for me. Next, we're going up to these tier, the big boys. Now you might be thinking that I just place them higher because of the fact that they are way higher in stats, but I'm not gonna be doing that. Um, I'm just gonna be comparing them to each other and stuff, and I am also going to like the pop thing definitely plays a role as well. Um, let's get right into it though, shall we? So on to the final page, we have the first one being the Lamia. I think I think Lamia honestly pretty ass. Not gonna lie. I think she's pretty ass. I think she's decent. Actually, she's really good against killing like smaller units like the Taurus, the trolls. The problem, however, is she's weak to strike. She's weak to strike, which means when you're weak to strike, it means that you're gonna get your ass blown in half if you get hit by it. It is insane. When something is weak or strong, you can really tell the difference, and weak especially is insane. Like despite the Lord of Hell, he has 19,000 health. That's a lot of health. And if you put this on him, 34,000 health. But yet, the difference between having this and this is insane because of the fact that its resistance are strong now. The resistance being strong makes him so much more powerful. Like hell, I'll even show you for funny sake. So just look at the damage that. Oh crap! I gotta actually use him real quick. So let me just compare. 34,000 health. All right. I'm gonna make this a little faster. Blaster a little bit there. So 34,000 health. Now she does hit hard, but look at the damage. Like look at that. 1,000, 2,500, 1,000, 2,500, 1,000, 2,500, 1,000, 2,500. For each combo, she's doing like 4,000 damage basically. Now, let's compare that to having strong stats. Okay, so now we're looking at a Lord of Hell that has strong resistance. Let's see the difference. So before it was 1,000 each hit. Now it is 100 in her ultimate attack, which was doing 2,400 damage before, is now doing only 400. To say that's a drastic difference is a major understatement. Uh, so yes, resistance is king. If you have strong resistance, it is insane. If you have weak resistance, it's bad. Like it's bad. Um, Now you could be saying, well, why not just grab this thing, and well, not that thing, this, and make her strong to strike. Well, for one, that we're not including items, but two, even if we were, look at her stats. They're not that good. I mean, comparison to everything else in this list, she's the lowest in stats. She does spawn quick. I'll give her that. She does spawn quick, but with only having two of her, and with her not doing that much damage, like the White Tiger does way better job at spawning fast, getting into the fight way quicker than she would ever get into the fight. And the fact that she doesn't have to, you don't have to rely on, like when she gets into the fight, she's gonna not last any time at all. When the White Tiger gets into the fight, he's gonna last quite a while. He's got double, like, even with both of her combined, it doesn't match his health. Let's see, 3,700, right? Was it? So that would be 6,700. Yeah, another 700 to it. And that would be 7,400? Something like that? Yeah. Yeah, literally, like, still more health for the White Tiger. And he's just one, character. He could still do more than both of her combined. He does more damage in the sense that he can slice through an entire wave, and he does have higher damage entirely. Uh, I have to say it. She's not that good. I don't know. Like, and her abilities aren't really that good either. I mean, yeah, she has a tornado, but you know who else has it? Her, Divine Angel, which is way better. Death, which is way better. I mean, it's not even comparable. And heck, even to someone like the Golem, which is like what I would consider her rival, because they both are like they're the only ones that have two pop, right? But like he's way better. Has way more health entirely. Doesn't do as much damage, but has way more health. And has a defense buff. Is more useful for a team fight. He does have walls that are kind of useless, but still, her abilities are common. Not maybe not the thunder thing, but the healing spell, that's common. She has a weaker version of it too than the Phoenix and the Divine Angel. And she has a tornado, but the Divine Angel again has that. Death has that. Death is way better as well. I mean, yeah, two of her is better than him in health, but he also has a nuclear bomb with a meteor spell. So, like, literally, she doesn't bring much. Out of all these giants, she's the weakest by far. I, in comparison to them, I gotta put her in D tier. I'm sorry, I gotta put her in D. You know what? I'm putting her in F. I, like I said, she's good in the early levels. Sure, that's it. I don't like. She's not lasting any time in the later levels. She does not have the HP pool. I would much rather want any other frontline unit over her. I'm sorry. Like, I like her ice spells. Like, I like her ice basic attack. It's really cool. Nope, no pun intended there. But like, it's just a shame because she just dies so quick. I hardly ever notice her in a fight because she just dies instantly. Dies so fast. It's nuts. I don't even consider, like, if she had three pop, that'd be different. That'd be much different. If she had just one more, that would be great. That, like, she would be a great counter to a lot of these guys because of, she does freeze them. She does freeze them with basic attacks. If there was three of her, that would be a little better. Maybe four of her. If she had four, that'd be nuts. I would like that. I think she would be in like B tier, A tier. That'd be great then. But just two? That doesn't make any sense. It's just because the golem does so much more. Everything down here does so much more than her. I'm sorry, I had to place her. Golem, pretty solid front line. Got decent, yeah, decent amount of HP, 6,400. Not bad for the big boys. Um, not that great damage, but he also has a defense buff. Defense buffs aren't really too common. I do believe I did make these guys bigger, by the way. They're like their icon. I just now noticed that. I made them. I did that intentionally too. Their icons are bigger, but anyway. Um, yeah, I think he's pretty decent. I think. Uh, I'd much rather want anyone in A tier. I think over him. Big part is his movement speed's slow. And the thing is, like, a lot of times the enemy also has golems. And the golems for the enemy are way better. So much better. Every time. They are way better. They just completely make yours obsolete. Because they're just way bigger, way stronger, way more tanky, way better than everything that you have for golems. Your golems are pathetic in comparison to theirs. And that's kind of ultimately why he goes there, because their golems are just way better every time. Um, Death. So Death himself, not too impressive. At least for health. His damage, on the other hand, 440, not too impressive. But the amount of attacks he does a super long combo every time he strikes. And it does a tremendous amount of damage, knocks everyone up. He has the Meteor level 2, which only other person that has that is the Angel. And this ability is the equivalent of a nuke dropping in your ass. It is insane how much damage it does. You could drop some of the drop some of the hard bosses in the game. Health by quite a margin. It does a lot of damage. It does require 75, but it's well worth it. It does a lot of damage. Um, I think for Death, I don't think he's S, but I definitely think he's A. I think he's better than the Golem, but I don't think he's higher than that. I think he's just very good though. White Tiger. Um, Pretty decent. Got good health. He's got decent health. He's got pretty good strike damage. He's very fast. Spawns fast. One of my personal favorites as far as um the giants of down here go. Um and I know we're not placing items into it, but I feel like he does benefit the most from it. Because of the fact that yes, he does die fast, but he also comes back so fast that like his frontlineness will come back in no time. Like I'll lose like one of these big boys, and then it just sucks because I don't have him for a while. In the White Tiger, if you give him like strong resistance to the person he's fighting, he'll come back and last so like a decent amount of time. Die, come back, die, come back, die, come back. Buys just enough time for some of these big boys that take forever to come back. He is the ultimate saver of time. And the fact that when he respawns, he is fast as crap. Like Death and Phoenix come back just as fast as him, but they don't get into the fight as fast. He as soon as he's up, he's like, "Oh yeah," just fucking runs in and does not give a fuck. He just charges in max speed. Like he is already in the fight by the time he spawns. Basically, he is fast as hell. He's got great ice ability. It's not the greatest, but it's still good. Sometimes he can be pretty hard for the enemy to hit. Not all the time, but sometimes. Honestly, without any items, I do think his benefactor of items is pretty nuts. But ultimately, I think he goes. For me personally, I think he goes in the SS plus territory. Just because he buys so much time. Like it is actually ridiculous how much time he buys for you. Um, he like I said, he's not the greatest, but yeah, he's not the greatest, but he just buys so much time. He just spawns in fast, runs in fast, and he can hold him his own for quite a bit of time. despite weaker, his lower HP pool compared to others. Um, he holds his own in the battlefield. I think he's SS plus. I really do, because of the fact that he just buys you the time you need to get one of these big boys back, uh, or just to hold him off long enough for your Rangers to kill him. He buys so much time. He's a lovable character to bring into battle. He's never a bad choice. He is never a bad choice. Even to the strongest enemies in the game, the Colossus, he will die fast to it, but he will come back very quickly. He is amazing. Having the White Tiger on your team is amazing. He'll die a lot, but he'll come back a lot. And he does not go fuck. He is going to go 110% at everything he does. It is a buy you time. He is the ultimate time giver. I love him. I love the White Tiger. I cannot tell you how many times I've saved myself with him. He is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that is why he is SS plus tier. Because yes, he doesn't last as long in a fight as some of these characters down here, but he will come back. It's no big deal. He dies, so what? Comes back. Yeah, White Tiger is amazing. It's just as simple as that. I cannot see him going any lower than S tier. If you do disagree, I don't know. He's so good. He's so good. I cannot place him any lower. I don't know. You you might disagree with me just because there is more people on this list that are like really strong, and I won't deny that. But it's just the amount of times that I've saved myself with him is insane. He doesn't fall off and he's like one of the earliest guys you get. He doesn't ever fall off. Like he always is relevant in a fight. You can always pick him in any mission. He's good. He'll do his part. You you may not always notice him at times just because he'll die like to the later levels pretty quick, but he'll always come back. He'll always come back, help your guys out for a little bit, die again, come back, die again, come back, die again, come back, die again. Like he's like the ultimate cannon fodder. Like really, like it's kind of sad to say, but he's so good at it though. Like really, for the bigger guys on his list, he's insane because of the fact that he just comes right back like no problem. He's just the equivalent to like Captain America. He could do this all day. Like he could just keep it going all day long. He don't give a shit. He just comes back. He's just like, yeah, come on. Round 3, baby. Come on now. Like he don't give a damn. He is going in balls deep, doesn't give a shit. I cannot place him any lower than S. If you do disagree, I, I can't see him going any lower than S me personally. You guys may have a bit different opinion. For me, I can't put him any lower. I just can't. I can maybe see you saying S, but I don't know. For me personally, he does so much. He's got decent spells. Uh, but he's such a great cannon fodder. He's like the ultimate cannon fodder. And yeah, that's all I got to really say for him. He's just amazing. He is amazing at what he does. Next, we have the Phoenix. Legendary Phoenix. So about the same stats as the Wolf. Not as much damage, but he does have a wider like radius of when he does attack. So he can slice through like more people than the Wolf can, I think. Um. So and he also has level 4 healing. I think the Angel has level 5. Yeah, level 5. So pretty on par. He's got the highest fire spells for damage. It causes like 5 giant ruptures to happen. So with the fire thing, it's pretty good against certain bosses, like the giant tank walker that you gotta fight. It's pretty good against that. He's pretty decent I think I think he's a great support. I think he kind of follows up with the same principle as the Wolf, just not as good because doesn't come. He does come back as fast, but he's not as speedy. I will probably say he's on par with Death. I don't think he is as good. Um, I think they're about the same. I think because of his supportiveness that he has, with Death's like insane abilities with damage, I think they kind of like counter each other with that, and they're just about the same level of goodness, I guess. If that makes sense, I think they're about the same, really. Divine Angel, so has a lot of overpowered spells. Level 5 healing, which is nuts. Tornado spell, pretty insane. Level 2 ice spell, pretty chilly. Get my grasp there. And a nuke. Has a nuke just like Death. Honestly, like resistant, like completely resistant to magic. When it says block, that means I don't give a damn about magic. So, because of this, with her abilities being so overpowered, I I don't think she's SS plus. I do think she goes here though. I think she's literally just better Death. Not as fast as Death, but overall she's just better Death. Really. Um, just has better abilities than him. Uh, her attacks, I will say, I don't think are as good. At least, like her wave clear is better, but her initial attacks are better because Death like teleports to 2 different areas and just does a bunch of slashy attacks and it knocks all the enemies up, which is pretty good. It buys you a little bit more time with that sense. I think she does better wave clear though, but ultimately she does. She is just a better version of Death. Iron Fortress. So has a lot of health, has a crap ton of health, has a crap ton of decent amount of power, has all 4 variants of towers. Honestly, I feel like the towers is what makes it so much worse. I think the Iron Fortress should have just been health. I feel like it should have been health, 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 health. I feel like it should have been super tanky or damaging, one or the other. But with him having all these towers, it makes him worse. He has resistance, weak to everything except for Pierce. He's completely resistant to Pierce, but weak is still sucky. Um, with that much health, you can counter it with items. Uh, but even if it was strong, dude, the Iron Fortress sucks ass. The big thing is speed. Now, speed is not the definition of everything in this game. I don't judge everything by that. But dude, like, I put the Amazons up here. I put, but the big problem with the tank, the battle is over by the time it gets across the fucking map. It is so slow. It is so slow and it doesn't do much. It has weaker wave clear than the Angel. It's not as tanky. Like, it's not as tanky as the Angel because of the fact that the Angel does have a higher resistance to block, like, attacks in general. And it completely blocks magic. She's honestly better than a tank, despite her having like 5,000 less health than the tank. But even like I said, even if the tank could have strong resistance to everything, it just sucks. It's so god awfully slow. And when it dies, it's gonna take like 30 minutes to get back. It is so slow. Absolutely, like I hate having it. Like unless you're doing something specific with it, it is so dog shit. I hate this. I hate this fucking vehicle. I hate it. It's awful. It does decent damage. It has some of the best clearing, I guess, against small creatures. But when it comes to the big boys, it's fucked. It is fucked. It also has a weird bug where, maybe not a weird bug, but like it, I don't know. It can't hit if it's something that's directly in front of it. It's kind of the same way with Lord of Hell, but it's even worse because it can't fucking move. If something is in front of it, it can't hit it for some reason. It just can't. It's like, oh, I can't hit that. It's like, why not? It can't hit it. I don't know why, but it can't. It has a problem with like registering the hits, or like it looks like it's hitting it, but it's not. Like anything that's in front of it, it can't hit it. And it's not like Lord of Death or Lord of Hell, where he could just like walk away, come back, and just bam. You can't do that. It's too slow. It is powerful in its own right. It has a lot of health. It's decent at damage, but dude, it's just so slow. And like, you know, yeah, it has more health than the White Tiger, but like the White Tiger just comes back and comes back, comes back, comes back, comes back. Like literally, the amount of times that the White Tiger dies and comes back before this thing even gets into the fight. This like the White Tiger would have probably died 10 times before that fucking tank got in the fight once. It is nuts. And it takes forever to respawn. When it dies, it takes forever to come back. Honestly, it's F. Its speed makes it so much worse. Its speed makes it like completely you just never want to pick it up. Even with the freaking chariot thing, it's still slow as shit. It is like I mean, as you can clearly see, like with this, it is extremely tanky, but there's just better options because of the fact that it just takes forever to come back in the fight. Like Lord of Hell can probably come back before it gets into the fight, and Lord of Hell takes forever to spawn. It's just awful. There's just so much better options. The spawn time with it, the slow speed, just makes everything else way better than it. Um, now we're on to the Earth Dragon. Earth Dragon is still pretty slow, but I do like the Earth Dragon a lot more as it's not as slow. It actually does a fuck ton of damage. Unlike the tank, it does like uppercuts. It does a lot of damage. Um, It has a defense buff, which is actually useful, unlike the 4 dumbass towers. It has a thunder spell, which is quite okay. It has a healing spell, not bad. Not bad if you don't have any other person that can heal better than level 3. It's a pretty good option, especially since he already has a defense buff. Pretty good. He can keep himself fed in battle with those 2 buffs. Pretty solid. If he has a healer with him, he's never gonna die, pretty much. Honestly, because of how durable he is, I'm gonna place him in S. I don't think he's S plus just because of his speed. Um, but honestly, he's so strong. If you did include items, he probably would be SS plus. But since we're not including items, he's not SS plus, and he is weak to magic. And that's the only reason. If he wasn't weak to magic, he might be SS plus. But because of that, he is. Uh, Black Dragon. Uh, honestly, mm, it does more damage than the Earth Dragon, but it doesn't have as much health. But its abilities are kind of iffy because of the fact that there's just way better ones with everyone else. Uh, But the thing is, the dragon does so much damage, has a huge AoE. It's pretty decently fast, surprisingly. It's decently fast for its size. It has a huge AoE. I'm gonna say SS plus. It's not as tanky, but 12,000 health, you might as well be like, it's anything that's above like 11,000 health is absurd. And the fact that it has decent speed, yeah, it's pretty OP. It has a huge AoE, does a crap ton of damage. One of the highest damagers in the game. Black Dragon is definitely one of the best in the game, for sure. Um, just how it is. He just does so much damage. Uh, he's tanky as hell. I mean, he's tanky. Does a lot of damage. Has huge AOE's. I mean, I kind of said it all. He's got pretty much everything. There's not much of a weakness apart from when he does die. It takes him forever to spawn, but he also takes forever to kill. So, yeah, pretty solid pick overall. Next, we have Inferno. One of my personal favorites. So Inferno, not as tanky, but holy mother of God, the damage. Holy shit. So I wouldn't say he's SS plus, but I do say he's S. Only reason he's not SS plus is because of the fact that he is a lot weaker than the other two. In the sense that like he's weaker than the tiger because he does take a while to spawn, quite a while, just as long as the dragon. But the dragon's just way better in the sense that he can stay in a fight a lot longer than the Inferno. But the Inferno, when he is up and he's whooping ass. He is killing shit. Doesn't give a fuck. He's killing everything. Just annihilates so many things. He does so much damage. It's unreal. Highest DPS in the game. Yeah, Inferno is nuts. Pretty fucking close to this tier though. If he had a 1,000 more health, just 1,000, he'd be an SS plus. But honestly, with items, like I mean, look at this shit. 999 damage, and he's doing like insane like rapid tornadoes, and it's just constant DPS. It's nuts. So much damage. And ultimately right now he is still S though. So Lord of Hell. He definitely earns his title. He definitely earns his title. Lord of Hell. I mean, look at them stats. I mean, he's weak to everything, but like if you want to like include this item on him, because honestly, like, dude, there's no reason you wouldn't put this item on him specifically. Like, you can only have one of these items, but he's the guy that you're gonna put it on because 30,000 health, strong to everything, 1,500 damage, and even without it, still 20,000 health. He's still gonna take forever to kill even without this. Unless you're fighting like huge bosses, he's still gonna hold his own quite a while. He does over 1,000 damage. He has like biggest wave clear in the game, apart from I think the Angel. He's a complete fucking monster. Even without items, he is a monster. He's the best of both worlds basically. He has absurd damage, absurd amount of health. He's decently he's normal. I'll just say he's normal speed, but he's basically a fucking freight train. He just slams his sword on you, and you're dead. You're not getting up. You're fucking dead. Go to hell. You're dead. Like, most things in the game cannot fight him. Most things in the game will take forever to kill him. You combine that with the fact that you can put defense buffs on him, you can put healing buffs on him. Dude, he literally cannot fucking die at one point. Even against the Colossus, the strongest enemy in the entire game, cannot kill him. If he has that one item on, and even without it, like he could. Okay, without the item, he is weak to everything, so he could die to the Colossus pretty quick. But with an item, no one else can say that. Like he's God. Like he is so unkillable. With one item that reduces some form of damage or makes his shit strong, he's he benefits the most out of items because of how absurd his like stats are. Because the items do of course scale off of what your stats are. They scale off of what percentage of your HP and damages. And with him having the highest of both, you could just get absurdly broken stats. And he gets to the point that he's just completely unrivaled. And the thing is, he doesn't even need to be upgraded. Like, he doesn't need this shit to have the best stats of the game. He doesn't even need all of this. He's just, like, he's better than a lot of these people without upgrades. The Lord of Hell truly does earn his title as the number one most powerful character in the entire game that you could have. He is so OP. Absolutely a train of destruction just waiting to be unleashed. Does not give a fuck. He is out to just conquer shit and destroy shit. That's all he's there for. And he does it with extreme prejudice. Um, but yeah, that's the. I think. I'm just looking through everything and see if everything's like okay. I think it's all good. I think it's all good. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to make. If you guys enjoyed watching this, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't not already. And let me know what you guys think about some of these options I placed up here. Do you agree, disagree? Anything that you think should be at a different spot? Any, I can't believe I didn't put anyone in D tier, but there's not that many. There's not that many like bad characters. Like there's only a handful. Uh, a lot of them are pretty good. Like as you can see, like the vast majority of people are like an S, and then everyone else kind of balances out an A and a B. So yeah, it's pretty good list of people, honestly. Not too many units I would consider, and even at even like I said before, like even uh, like you can basically make anything work. Like you can grab everyone in F and C tier and still kick ass with them. Like you can still do whatever the hell you want with any character. It as long as you know what you're doing, you're fine. Like you're never gonna really lose a battle. There's very few times you'll lose because you chose wrong. There's no choosing wrong. It's just preference. There is, of course, better options, but you know you can't really go wrong. So just go with whatever you want, really. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. This is Titan signing off. Peace.